What's up, everybody?
What is up?
Man, you're supposed to say up dog.
Oh, I missed the cue. I'm
sorry. I go up dog.
Up dog.
No, and you say what? What's up, dog?
Oh, what's up, dog? Yeah. That's
nothing much. You. There's kind of my dad joke, but it just really didn't flow very well.
Yeah, it did not.
No.
Okay, so for the three people that are still watching right now,
yes.
welcome to Reverent and Rebellious. This is Pat.
Yeah.
This is Logan, and I'm Brother Peter, and here we are.
Here we are.
Yes.
Here we are. And while you're here, you need to hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit the little bell, and share it. If you're listening on Spotify, leave us a rating. And also, some of you may not realize Brother Peter's been putting some polls and some questions on Spotify.
Yep.
So you can go and you need to interact in them because we don't want to be the only ones participating in the poll.
That's right.
So we want you guys to vote, and it's anonymous. So if you feel like a weirdo,
you can vote any way you want to. And we got some responses to the poll from last week. Yeah. The question was, do you think near-death experiences are legit? And 67% of the people said...
Yep. Message from God.
Okay. And then
33 said, meh, maybe.
So
I like the wording on that. Meh.
I do too. Yeah.
So, and then we got this awesome comment last week.
Yeah. My buddy, Alan Shank, he says he loves near-death experiences conversations, very close to his heart. He's a believer today because of one.
That's awesome.
It wasn't even my own. So that's great.
Well, that's pretty much how Boss Rutan was. It wasn't his own that got him. That's awesome.
And LH Farms said the real question is do you believe in aliens? I believe, is that you, Logan?
That is me.
That is you. And then someone responded, I'm on the fence.
So is the alien.
Yes, that's right. Watching. He's watching them. Well, guys, thank you for the interaction. And please, we'd love to hear it. Comment on this. Let us know what you think of the episode.
Yeah, and Penny Hendricks, I talked to you today. You said you watched the podcast while you're putting up your Christmas decorations, but you did not like it or comment.
Oh
my
man.
goodness.
I'm sad.
Calling her out.
All people, Penny. You hurt
I
my
know.
feelings.
Penny is like, she's a superhero. Wow.
Yeah.
Come on, Penny.
What's harder, putting up your Christmas village or hitting a little button?
Sorry, Penny, I had to throw you under the bus.
Hey, I
Thank
feel
you for dinner, by the way.
We do need to place a warning before these videos.
Okay.
So we're getting into the Christmas stuff, as Brother Peter's about to reveal. Now, I don't know if we'll get on it this episode. We might, actually, some of my points we probably will. But if you have kids in the car, there's a possibility we might talk about the man in the big suit.
Yeah.
So, hey,
heads up.
That's the warning there. We don't want to be the ones that bust some bad news to the kids.
That is true. That is true. And we might just actually undermine some Christmas traditions and things like that. So, listen and watch with care.
Yeah.
But we'll also bust a bubble of some Scrooges out there, too.
That's
For
right.
sure.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
right.
So pick your battle.
We're reverent and rebellious.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Absolutely, we are.
Yep.
We are starting our Christmas series. But first, why do our butt cracks go up and down instead of side to side?
Why?
Because if God had made our butt cracks could go side by side, every time we go down the slide, they would go.
Good job.
That is good.
And you remembered it on your own. I'm so proud.
He was proud of that one.
I was. Yeah. I've been holding on to it all day.
That is good. That is good. I'm still in that.
Yes.
My kid is going to love it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to pass that one along.
For sure. All right, so we are starting our Christmas series. We're going to do 4 weeks of busting Christmas myths and digging down deep into what we actually celebrate and what we actually believe and all these different kinds of things. So the theme today, and this is a good one because if you go on all of the internet theology websites, you're going to find, all you have to do is go to YouTube and type, "Is Christmas a pagan holiday?" and you will get an onslaught.
Yes.
There is no definitive answer on YouTube.
Oh my!
There is every answer on YouTube.
It is. And Google Hey, I feel like we need to do something for every episode on Christmas. Now, this is going to be a little challenging for you.
Okay.
Me and Pat, I feel like now it might be hard narrowing it down. I feel like we ought to give our top 4 Christmas films, but reveal one per episode.
Gotcha.
So our number 1 will be revealed on the last episode.
Okay.
So kind of rank them. So Pat, I'll let you go first because Brother Peter's only seen like 2. So, he's going to have to scan his mind.
I'm going to have to think about that.
Your number 4 Christmas movie, Pat, and I'm putting them on the spot. They've had no preparation. I haven't even had preparation.
Batman Returns.
Is that with Mr. Freeze?
No, that's the one with Danny DeVito Penguin.
Oh, okay. I guess that is Christmas.
It is a Christmas film. Yep.
That is definitely out of left field. I wasn't expecting that one.
In my top 4, it would be 2 that's not.
No,
I'm not giving them one.
Okay, all right.
My last 2 are films that's not traditionally associated with Christmas, and my top 2 are.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Batman Returns.
Okay.
I'm going to say anything that's not Home Alone because I'm so tired of that movie.
Man, what you said.
No, actually, I would say my number 4 is Rudolph.
Okay, the clay version?
Yeah, exactly.
Just showed my kids that one. I love the clay one.
I do.
It's awesome.
I do. I watch it every year.
The songs in it are honestly really good.
Is that the one foot in front of the other?
Yep. That's it. And what is it? The cold and the hot. Oh shoot! I'm Mr. Freezemeister.
I'm Mr. Freeze, whatever. I can't remember what he.
I can't recall any of it right
now. That's with Yukon Cornelius.
Yes, exactly.
I was thinking the Misfits toys.
Yes,
that's another one. Yeah. That whole. Are you talking about the whole series of the Claymations?
Yes, I am.
Gotcha.
Absolutely, because they
Mr.
there's like
White
3
Christmas, Mr. Snow.
Yeah,
that's it.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Okay.
And Yukon is he's a proud Second Amendment supporter.
Yes,
he's got a nice revolver on his.
Yes, he does.
Prospect.
He's got a knife. He's got everything.
Yes, he's ready.
He is ready to go.
Well, for me, see, I kind of messed myself up because now I put myself on the spot. But I'm gonna go with. I actually love Polar Express for number 4.
That's a solid choice.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something that I gotta watch every year. Yeah. Every year we watch that with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
I mean, I watch like The Grinch every year too. The old school one.
Yeah,
I watch that one every year.
I like the old school one.
And do you know how many people get mad at me for saying I like The Christmas Story?
Well, I'm saving that one for later.
Yeah,
it's not on my list, but I do enjoy.
People get mad at you for liking a Christmas.
Yeah, they're like, it's played every year, blah blah blah. It's like, well, you have Christmas every year.
Yeah, I'll save my opinions for when I reveal.
Very good.
Yeah,
okay. Very good.
Okay, but there you go.
So we got Batman Returns.
Yeah,
Rudolph series, and
Polar Express.
Polar Express.
So y'all need to watch all of these before the next episode.
That's it. I remember when Polar Express came out, it was this new technology.
Yeah.
And that was what really captured me.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, this is real. This is like animated, but not animated.
Yeah. It's pretty cool because, really Tom Hanks plays like quite a few of the characters too.
It's real-amated.
Yeah, real-amated. Right. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was good. Okay. All right. So is Christmas a pagan holiday? That is our question.
What defines a pagan holiday?
Okay. So, what defines a pagan holiday is, okay. So I got several articles. I got reams of paper.
There's plenty of information.
Pagan in the dictionary means of relating to or having the characteristics of pagans, polytheistic religions. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because there are 2 or 3 distinct camps in this. And I'm going to read part of this article, which is from the camp of Christmas is evil.
Clearly, that's the camp we're in. We are clearly in that camp.
Exactly. And we just want to kind of set the stage so you'll know what's being said out there.
Yeah.
So it says, by that definition of pagan, there can be no doubt that Christmas and most of its traditions bear thoroughly pagan origins. There can be no doubt, Pat.
No doubt.
No doubt. There can be no doubt. decorating a Christmas tree, hanging holly, singing carols, strategically placing a sprig of mistletoe, even gathering together for the purpose of exchanging gifts. All of these practices originated in pagan customs and worship traditions, many of which predate Christianity by centuries or millennia.
Oh, wow.
Man, this has been pagan since the dawn of time.
Exactly. Yeah, we just...
you know, what I always wondered, did they celebrate birthdays, these people that write that?
I don't know. I don't think they celebrate anything.
No, they don't.
They sound like a very fun-sucking person.
They probably enjoy musical instruments.
No.
Probably not. Yeah. No, but honestly, this is not. I mean, this is popular.
Oh yeah,
rhetoric.
Yeah. I've heard that statements like that within a body of believers.
Really,
this is from a supposedly Christian website here, and it also is a kind of a favorite. It comes up every time about this year. It's a kind of a favorite trope of atheists. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't believe in Christmas because it comes from all of these other pagan celebrations,
right.
And so on and so forth.
Right.
He says here that mistletoe is associated with Roman fertility rituals and Frigga, the Norse goddess of love and lust. So there you go.
So it's a lustful pagan holiday.
Yeah, it's mistletoe is a lustful fungus. Apparently.
Good job.
Then it says the timing of Christmas corresponds not to the actual timing of Jesus' birth, which was likely in the fall, not in the winter, but to the observance of the pagan Roman Saturnalia and sun worship. What do you think about that, Pat?
Saturnalia.
Yeah.
It has never fallen on December 25th.
Really?
Never.
What do you know about Saturnalia?
That it's dumb.
Well, it's kind of the worship of the god Saturn, right?
Yep. Yeah. And as I did my research on it, this was the relations that people say is why Christmas is related to the beliefs. You know, the winter solstice, Saturnalia, and these dates don't even fall on Christmas.
Yeah, but they're close.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's right around the same time.
Red is close to pink.
Yeah, I know, but it's not pink. You're right.
It's not.
Exactly right. What do you know anything about Saturnalia or anything?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. There's another festival that was instituted by Aurelian, the Roman emperor, in the 3rd century. This is before the Roman Empire had adopted Christianity as its official religion. So Christians were still being persecuted. They were looked down upon. Christianity was growing very quickly, but it was not a popular thing among the royals. And so Aurelian instituted the celebration of the rebirth of the unconquered sun, Sol Invictus. Now, this is kind of harkens back to a pretty common thing in ancient Mesopotamian and a lot of different cultures. They would around the winter solstice they would have some sort of celebration to beckon the returning of the sun, because you can imagine shorter days, you didn't know if the sun was going to come back, and so
as did many primitive groups around seasonal changes.
Absolutely. Yeah. It happened in the spring, all those kinds of things. Yep. Yeah. So anyway, Sol Invictus.
Could you imagine?
What?
Could you imagine, like, legitimately not knowing if the sun's going to come back?
Yeah.
Like, think about that.
Well, and we talked about this when we were talking about the spiritual warfare series, about how every culture has a creation narrative,
Yeah.
And so there's often the storm god, and the storm god, has to win the victory every year so that the rain will come. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Here.
Hey, so y'all might pick up my cow. I don't know if y'all can hear my cow moving over here. If somebody hears some odd sound in here, that's my cow. She's mad over here. So,
okay.
If you hear an odd,
why is she mad?
I actually haven't fed her yet. I got to go out there and feed her when we get done. She's got hay, but I have ruined her. I give them feed every day.
So you're saying she's moody.
She is moody, very. Sorry, had to add that in there.
So now you know that Logan spoils his cows.
Yes, they are very needy cows.
So during Saturnalia and Sol Invictus, people feasted and exchanged gifts.
Yep.
It was also the birthday of the Indo-European deity Mithra. Mithra, this is also a very, very common sort of trope that's thrown out around this time of year. And again, around Easter time, that Jesus was just, kind of reiteration of Mithra, because there's supposed to have been some sort of death and resurrection story with the deity Mithra, a god of light and loyalty whose cult was at the time growing popular among Roman soldiers. So that's kind of the idea. Now, we'll get into this a little bit later, but the thing that we have to sort of figure out is which came first, Sol Invictus and Saturnalia, or the Christian celebration of Christmas as the birth of Jesus?
Right.
So here's the deal. The celebration of Christmas did not happen in the Christian community until the 4th century. Mm-hmm. Saturnalia, Sol Invictus, happened in the 3rd century. So that's why so many people will say, well, sure, they stole it. Yeah, they hijacked it. Yeah.
The first Grinch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. But
more paper.
More paper.
Yes. And we're gonna talk about the dates and everything, and then we're gonna start talking about the practices. Because
are you gonna go into like the Julian calendar and the Gregorian calendar?
That will come into play. We're not going to go all the way into that rabbit hole.
Okay.
But you can talk about it if you want to.
I didn't do enough studying on it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know.
All right. Well, the truth of the matter is, the Jewish calendar,
lunar calendar.
Okay. Yeah. So the Jewish calendar, they had 12 months of 30 days, and so every few years they'd have to have an extra month.
13th month.
Yep. So, because they had to reset everything.
Yep.
Okay. Now, according to my good friend Michael Heidel, there was a Qumran calendar that has since been lost to us. But the Qumran calendar claims to have gotten everything absolutely perfect, like down to the second. Huh. And nobody knows where it is.
Crazy. So how do they know it's right?
This in the ancient Jewish writings that was the assertion that was made, is that the Qumran calendar was the one that they should follow because it was right.
Yeah.
They didn't have to add an extra month.
I feel like it's easy to say there was one that was perfect,
I know,
but it's gone.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe that's just the way it is. I don't know. Anyway, but then once we got to the Julian calendar, then everything kind of got messed up because we didn't know how to track anything. Because,
and for those watching, that's Julius Caesar.
Yep.
Established that.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was very full of himself. I'm going to make my own calendar.
The Praetorian?
Yes.
Praetorian. That's got a good sound to it.
I like it. The Praetorian calendar. Yeah. I'm going to say that every day is Saturday. How about that?
Yeah. Sold.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. What we have to look for is evidence that Christians attached December 25th to the birth of Christ before Aurelian.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's exactly what happened. And it came out as a byproduct of searching for the day of Jesus' death and resurrection.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm not saying that any of this is actually accurate. It's not really actually accurate, but this is the way that it all went down. They were looking for, it was all hinging on the Passover meal.
Yeah.
Because, Jesus had the Passover meal and then he was arrested and then he was, so it had to be a year where the Passover meal happened on a Friday.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so they came down to 2 dates, March 25th and April 6th. So I can't remember if it was the Eastern or the Western, one or the other attached themselves to March 25th and the other attached them to April 6th.
So right off the bat, we're close to Easter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so somehow March 25th won the day. That was just kind of generally accepted. Well, then there is this sort of, it's a legend, it's a myth that was very prevalent at the time, that all prophets died on the day they were conceived.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, Surely that's not true.
So then that would mean like so it's saying like if the prophet was born January 12th,
Roll
he's
back
going to
the
die.
clock
So then
9
basically
months.
that prophet every January 11th, he's
right.
like, man,
I'm not going anywhere.
yeah, he's like, I'm going to just be chill. And if he makes it, then he's good
Yep.
after that. Go skydiving, everything
Well,
else.
but here's the
guys do.
deal, though. It's the day he was conceived. So honestly, he doesn't know the day he was conceived.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you take the day that he died, and then that automatically
Well, that's
becomes.
again, that's his like the calendar thing.
Yeah,
It's just
I know.
easy.
I know.
Wow.
So March 25th, 9 months later, what do you got? December 25th.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk a lot about that in our final episode in the Christmas series. We're gonna discover the actual day that Jesus was born,
June 25th.
Nice.
and that's gonna be no. It wasn't.
No, that's my birthday.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the point with all this, and we're going to get back to this in a later episode, but the point to all this is the Christians had landed on this day of Jesus' birth as a byproduct of figuring out his death.
Gotcha.
And they were observing this.
Yeah.
Now, they weren't celebrating it because for them there was only one celebration. That was the resurrection.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
they were concerned about. So they would make the big feast on Easter and all that kind of stuff. But they observed December 25th as Jesus' birth as far back as the first century.
Wonder would they have like a candle lit thing? I mean,
They probably honestly would have a special worship service, probably something like that. It probably didn't go any further than that.
yeah.
But then later on, it became, more of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what actually happened was Aurelian hijacked the Christians' date to put down the Christians.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Yeah.
So is December 25th a pagan origin? No, it's not.
Yeah.
It absolutely is not. It is. It was Aurelian trying to get the Christians, and then, along comes Constantine, and Aurelian. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah.
rule the world.
Exactly.
Watch this.
So that's that. Now let's get into a little bit about the practices of Christmas.
Okay.
So
Well, that's what I was telling you is funny. We were talking about the articles. Turn it on. Look like I got that turned off. You can Google. It's like,
Oh, man.
immediate. It was tons of them. And that's how one of the first articles I found, it was like 6 reasons why.
okay, give us the 6 reasons.
All right. The first one is gift giving.
Now,
Okay.
this is 6 reasons why
it is
pagan.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Track
why
it.
we should not.
And it's a very long, like elaborate
Oh, my
article.
gosh.
But
Okay.
the first one is gift giving.
That's horrible.
Yep. Terrible. And then the image of Santa Claus is number 2.
Okay.
Christmas stockings is number 3. Christmas caroling is number 4. Decking the halls is number 5. And decorating trees is number 6.
Wow.
So if you do all these things, you're going to hell.
Yeah. Now, I would like to add that this article was written by somebody in Laguna Beach, California. So that sounds a little fitting.
Alan, take care of those people.
But yeah, and and they elaborate on them. Oh, they do talk about Saturnalia. I was like glancing down through I got really more into the Santa one, but they actually claim, Santa. Do you know who developed Santa Claus?
No.
Coca-Cola
Oh my goodness.
in 1930s.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're going to get into Santa and his
Saint
elves
Nicholas.
and that whole thing next week.
All right, well, I'll save that for next week. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
another little teaser.
Yeah.
But yes, gift giving, Santa Claus, Christmas stockings, caroling, decking the halls, and decorating trees.
What's bad about gift giving?
The gift giving here, it actually mentions Saturnalia.
Okay.
And there it says it's a pagan holiday. Yeah, it talks about all that. And it was in honor of the agriculture god Saturn. And they would spend Christmas holidays or Saturnalia feasting, drinking, giving gifts, and being joyful. So I guess because basically they did all of those things, then it now becomes pagan to do them on this one. Because it says rather than have huge lists of gifts to give, the Romans shared only one gift with one other person. Somewhere along the line, giving gifts for luck and prosperity became a multi-million-dollar business. Isn't that funny?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
Shocking.
On your list, what exactly is decking the halls?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Decking the halls. Well, and they do hit on the mistletoe, kissing under mistletoe.
Oh my goodness.
That is just, yeah.
Wow,
and
that's
it says it came from it says the Romans, the Celts to the Druids, and the Norse had a thing about mistletoe. It was considered to be a highly sacred plant involved in pagan rituals. To keep, it's about the fertility ritual, all that, what you talked about earlier.
Okay.
So, and kissing, it says, in a way, kissing is a form of a truce. And they would drop their weapons because of the kiss. So then decking the halls with holly. It says with holly is added in there. So mistletoe wasn't the only sacred plant for pagans. Holly was another holy plant connected with the god Saturn. During the Saturnalia holiday, Romans made holly wreaths to exchange as gifts for good luck. And early Christians began to celebrate Christmas. And it says, however, they were persecuted for practicing their new religion. It was lucky that Christmas coincided with Saturnalia, as it allowed Christians to arbor a cover for their Christmas celebrations. So I still don't really, it says eventually as pagans decreased, holly became a symbol of Christmas instead of Saturnalia. So they're just saying holly is linked to Saturnalia.
Okay.
So can I ask this for the decorations wise, like holly, mistletoe, we don't call it holy. It's just a decoration, man.
Yeah.
Listen to this though. This says clearly Christmas and its traditions and customs are not simply related to pagan practices. They are deeply rooted in pagan origins.
Deeply rooted.
Clearly.
Oh, well, I can't wait to tear this
In
apart.
that sense, Christmas is indeed a pagan holiday. This is my favorite part though. What?
Well, go ahead, read it.
Okay.
Then I'll mention what I was going to do.
Still, some may wonder, is it really? Many assume that while various activities, celebrations, traditions, and symbols originated in paganism, they have, in a sense, been baptized by Christianity.
Oh, man, nice.
So we've just kind of cleaned them up. Okay, listen to this. While the holly branch and its red berries once held pagan meaning, a meaning too vulgar to describe in a family magazine.
Too vulgar?
Apparently. The holly branch and its red berries once held pagan meaning, a meaning too vulgar to describe in a family magazine. Can we now use them to symbolize Christ's crown of thorns and the red bloody shed for our sins?
This article writer saying it's too vulgar?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Sounds like the life of the party.
I had no idea.
Well, I was just going to say, it makes me think, the way they go to the extremes here makes me think about, all right, does a guy drink coffee on Christmas morning? Like, does a Satan worshiper drink coffee on like Monday mornings?
Guilty by association.
Yeah, because then if that's the case, everybody that drinks coffee, I feel like you could say, dude, I know a Satan worshiper that drinks coffee on Monday morning. If you drink it, you're just as bad.
I heard them Satan worshipers. I heard they like to go pee.
Yeah.
Anyone who does that.
Yeah, you're a pagan.
So then they go to Jeremiah 10 for this for the tree thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's Jeremiah 10, 1-4.
Yeah. This is 2-5 here.
Same thing.
But it says, thus says the Lord, do not learn the way of the Gentiles. Do not be dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the Gentiles are dismayed at them. For the customs of the peoples are futile. For one cuts a tree from the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers so that it will not topple. They are upright like a palm tree, and they cannot speak. They must be carried because they cannot go by themselves. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, nor can they do any good.
They would use that one.
Yeah.
They would.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that is a metaphor to construction. It's not a metaphor, it's a reference to structure.
Well, they never use context when they pull out the verses.
He says here, but whether fashioning an image of Baal for pagan worship or decorating a Christmas tree on the pretext of honoring God, the principle is the same.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't cut down
So
a tree
if
and
you
decorate.
put up a Christmas tree this year, you are building it all.
I'm thinking about them because I cut a tree down. I didn't even buy a fake one this year. I actually cut a tree down.
See, there you go.
Oh, see, I got a fake altar of Baal or whatever then.
Yeah, I got the real deal, man.
Not me. Mine's pre-lit and everything.
My store down there where it's in is glowing right now, probably.
Okay, so it says when we do go to the scriptures, they reveal the truth of this matter in a way that is absolutely clear. Absolutely clear, Pat. Yeah. For instance, speaking of pagan peoples and pagan traditions and customs, God commanded the Israelites very clearly that they must not inquire after their gods, saying, "How did these nations serve their gods? I also will do likewise. You shall not worship the Lord your God in that way."
Huh.
Now, I feel like what we need to do, because, and I try to not assume, because you know what they say about when you do that.
Yeah.
But there could be a possibility that we have somebody maybe that even goes to church with us or that's listening that might believe this. So I almost feel like we need to break down why. I mean, and we kind of did a little bit, but we need to kind of bust up. All right, why are these not pagan?
Can I just throw in some logical things here?
Go ahead, Pat.
Okay, so we need to understand uses versus origins.
Yeah.
Okay. The word literally today does not mean literally. No. People say, I've literally haven't been there in 1,000 years. Well, okay, so now we have to think you're 1,000 years old.
I'm guilty. I am guilty.
Okay, I talked earlier off air about the swastika. Yeah. The swastika has been around for 1,000 years, but when we think about it today, what do we think about? Nazis, right?
Literally.
Literally. Nike, right? Nike is a Greek goddess. And when we think of Nike today, what do we think of? The shoe, right?
Just do it.
Yep. And so here's the deal. This is biblical. In Acts 17, 22 and 23. So Paul stood in the midst of Areopagus. How you say that, Peter?
Areopagus.
Thank you. And said, "Men of Athens, I observe that you are very religious in all respects. For while I was passing through and examining the objects of your worship, I also found an altar with this inscription, 'To an unknown God.' Therefore, what you worship in ignorance, I proclaim this to you. The God who made the world and all things in it, since he is Lord in heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made with hands, nor is he served by human hands as though he needed anything, since he himself gives all the people life and breath of all things." So Paul takes a Roman god and tells them, no, I'm going to use this as a moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So can we say Paul was worshiping paganism then?
Okay. Yes, and this is exactly where we're going with this whole thing, because now I want to unpack a couple of other things that sort of springboards off of what
hold
you
on.
just said.
I didn't tell you why singing carols is
pagan.
I was going to say, I figured y'all would really be into the carols.
I do want to know about
pagan
that.
musicians over here.
Yeah.
I'm a pagan musician.
While the carols we sing for Christmas are undeniably Christian, the tradition itself of going door to door singing to your neighbors comes from another pagan tradition called wassailing or wassailing.
Wassailing. Yes.
The rather funny word comes from the Anglo-Saxon phrase of wassail, translating to good health. Every year, wassailers, how'd we say?
Wassailers.
Wassalakans.
Would roam through their villages in small groups, singing loudly with the aim of banishing evil spirits and wishing good health to those around them. No wassailing group was complete without their traditional drink on hand, made from mulled ale, curdled cream, roasted apples, eggs, spices, and sugar. I would try it. I'd try it.
Is this their version of eggnog?
Probably, yeah.
That's what I went with that.
Yeah, it does.
I like eggnog.
In the 13th century, St. Francis took inspiration from these happy choirs and started the tradition of Christmas caroling. So, they're really reaching to me. Like when I read that, and I'm like, and it's not even, I don't know, and I guess I'm giving them an out here, but of all the things to be triggered by, they're mad about people
Christmas
that are
caroling.
going around singing to banish evil spirits. But then they're like, I don't know.
The more I've studied this, I've realized that these inflated arguments, these balloons, are easily pricked by just a tiny pin shot.
Yeah.
But it is widespread for some reason though. Like it is pretty common to come across people that
there's
think
a reason.
it's pagan.
There's a reason for that, and that's because Christmas went through a kind of a trouble period. I read this other little article, and it was actually quite enlightening.
Was it the Great Depression?
I thought you were just going to say they needed hobbies.
Hobbies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have too much time to sit around and think about things.
That
to
might be
offended
true.
about.
That might be true. You might be.
Learn to play an instrument.
Yeah.
Don't use AI.
Yeah.
Golf
See,
or
they
something
hate.
like that.
There it is. See, they hate caroling and all that.
Yeah,
It's
they
'cause
learned to
They're
do
obviously
this.
not good musicians.
Yeah,
There you
that's
go.
it.
There
So
you go.
they just don't have hobbies.
Okay, so this article is talking about how Christians did not formally celebrate the birth of Christ until the 4th century, but it says whether the Christmas celebration or the pagan festival came first, which we've already established that
Christmas.
Christmas, the observation of Jesus' birth, came before
Yep.
Saturnalia and Sol Invictus and all that stuff.
Sure,
Yeah.
you talked about it in Church Sunday. It's in the beginning of every gospel.
It's true. Yeah. That is very true. Yes. Okay, but no one can argue with the fact that the celebration of Christ's birth eventually degraded into a raucous festival of drinking and revelry. See?
What festival?
A raucous festival of drinking and revelry.
I think that's the phrase he needs to use Sunday.
That, you know what that sounds like? It sounds like a rock festival.
It does.
Come
Yeah.
Raucous Festival this weekend.
Well, that's what happened. This is like, this is when the rednecks take over. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, after the Protestant Reformation, many Protestant believers were so concerned with what the Christmas celebration had become that they banned the festivities altogether.
Wow.
Christmas was banned.
Dang, it's like the Footloose town.
Oh man, it's so funny that you brought that up, because one of the things that I did in my research, this is one of the big complaints, was gluttony, drunkenness, and going into debt. Right?
That's what happened.
But feasting is not glutton.
That's
You
right.
don't be a glutton, you feast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Alcohol is not a sin. Drunkenness is a sin.
For sure.
Yeah.
Giving gifts is not a sin. Going in debt, buying crap you can't afford is a sin.
Now you go on to meddling.
Well, I'm sorry. Use some common sense, people.
I was gonna say you dropped some painful pills there. Just a little,
Yeah, but that's one of the funnest parts about my personality.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I'm with you.
Okay, but listen to this. Christmas was outlawed in England in 1645 under Oliver Cromwell. Yeah, but was reinstated when Charles II was restored to the throne.
Charlie knew better.
Strong Puritans in early America, those Puritans,
They said no.
they said they outlawed everything fun. No, they outlawed Christmas.
You were right the first time.
Yeah.
Outlawed Christmas from 1659 to 1681. Anyone caught celebrating was fined 5 shillings.
Wow, that's
What?
over. What were those dates again?
1659 to 1681.
Dang near 30 years.
Wow.
My math's a little off. But
Yeah, that's a
And
generation,
5
man.
shillings was a
That's a
decent
big deal,
amount.
yeah.
So,
Man, I'd be pissed if I was one of those kids that grew up in that time, because you'd be like 20-something years old, and then Christmas comes back.
Think of Grandpa at 1700, you
Yeah.
little.
Yeah,
I know.
man, back in my
You didn't
day,
even
yeah.
think about it, huh? Yeah. We didn't even have Christmas.
Yeah, we didn't have Christmas.
Exactly. You get what you get and you'll like it. But here's an interesting little tidbit. This rejection of Christmas in early America actually helped the Revolutionary troops when General Washington attacked Hessian soldiers in Trenton, New Jersey after crossing the Delaware on Christmas Day in 1776. Washington's troops surprised the German soldiers, who made a big deal of Christmas and were engaged in a drunken celebration of the event.
The legalism wins.
Yeah.
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 And so it says Congress was in session on December 25th, 1789, the first Christmas under America's new Constitution.
Man, they're in there passing gifts out, and a ball just goes through a dude's throat. Man.
Yeah.
Somebody just gets shot through the throat. That'd
Merry
be a
Christmas.
Christmas to remember.
200 years later, it's a federal holiday.
Yeah.
There you go. But here's the interesting thing. I found this to be absolutely fascinating. In the 19th century, unemployment was high. Gang rioting often occurred during the Christmas season. Class conflict was at its peak in America, and the lower classes would frequently stage violent protests during this time of the year. So somebody in the upper class said, we got to do something about this. We got to change this. And it was in 1819, American author Washington Irving published a book called The Sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon. I don't know if it has anything to do
Is
with
that a
crayon.
color? Is that the first coloring book?
Maybe.
I've heard of Washington Irving, but I don't know what that book is.
I don't either, but it was a series of stories that included some about the celebration of Christmas in an English manor house. And out of these stories, this is so fascinating. He literally invented the modern Christmas traditions in these stories.
Yeah.
It just like spread everywhere. Portraying this English squire as a kind man who invited peasants into his home for a traditional Christmas celebration. Traditional. There was no tradition. I mean, he just made them up.
Was this Saint Nicholas?
Well, I don't know if it was. In fact, I don't think anything in there included Saint Nicholas.
Gotcha.
But the interesting thing about it is timing is everything.
Mm-hmm.
At almost the exact time, Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol.
Okay. Yep.
Nice.
And so all the stuff kind of came together, and all of the stuff with the figgy pudding and the roast duck and all the stuff. It all started to just materialize out of nothing.
So culture came together across the globe.
Yeah, it really did.
So Christmas was in like a 1 at this point. Like it was real down.
It was terrible. Yeah, it was all
And-
this rioting and gang violence and all this
And
stuff.
this begins the peace on earth.
Yeah.
And the multi-million-dollar business.
Yes.
So now we know what the fault is today. All across the country, stop making bad music.
That's right.
Make good music and everyone will be happy again.
But it says in this article, it says Americans in the 19th century reinvented Christmas and transformed it from a disorderly day of drunken indulgence into a family-centered day of giving and nostalgia.
So Grandpa had to hide his sipping whiskey.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
It would be
Put it
kind of
in
wild to
eggnog,
see
right?
old school Christmas.
I know.
So you think that's why they started putting booze in the eggnog so
Probably.
they couldn't tell that they were
Probably.
drinking?
And
Being
Martin
secretive.
Luther was the first one to put lights on the Christmas tree.
Really?
Wow. Wow.
Uh,
Well, if Luther did it, then it's all right.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's exactly.
I think he would also drink a beer and smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
Or a pipe. He was a pipe man, I think.
I think you're right. He would definitely drink a beer.
Yeah.
And he would definitely. Well, he had this fascination with pooping. I don't.
Pooping?
Yeah. mhm.
Me too.
Martin Luther.
Yeah.
Me too.
He wrote about it a lot. Yeah.
Wow. I have to explore that
Just Google it.
one. Martin Luther.
While you're pooping.
Yeah.
While I'm pooping.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do it.
That's
Yeah.
what I do when I poop.
I've got an
I'm a poop Googler.
extensive amount of time.
Yeah. Just like in the sermon Sunday, I wanted to say Zachariah called for a tablet because he was pooping. How can you poop without a tablet, right? Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry. We digressed.
Hey, if nobody can deny what we just said. Like that's like if you're
Everybody
if you
reads
got to
on
go
the
to the
toilet.
bathroom and you forget your phone, you're like, man,
This is gonna be the
what do
worst
I
poop
do?
of the
You know, you're like picking
I know.
up stuff and reading the back of
Yeah.
the can, like
Shampoo bottles.
Yeah.
Yep, I can tell you everything that's in my shampoo.
It's it. So,
Man, you never know what rabbit hole we might go down.
okay, so let's talk about the tree.
All
Let's
right.
talk about the tree for a minute. We'll get away from the toilet and talk about the tree. The tree is a very controversial subject, in case you didn't know.
It should be.
Yeah, it should be. Yes, exactly. Because pagans were just infatuated with trees.
Yeah, they're environmentalist.
Yeah.
Or no, the pagans hated environment because were they destroying the trees?
No, they actually kind of worship the tree.
Yeah,
Well, see, then we should be against the pagans because we're cutting the trees down.
that's right.
Yeah, I know.
Celebrate.
Matter of fact, I use a lot of plastic products on mine. I screw the environment.
Yeah. Or
Well, there
are
you
they
go.
saying we worship the tree?
Well, they're saying pagans worship the tree. So when we use a tree, then we are, kind of by default worshiping the tree.
I'd
as
like
well.
Gotcha.
I'd like to see this person and tell them, dude, we cut these trees down. man.
Yeah,
we care so little about them, we cut them down.
I'm sorry. I guess just because it's such a stretch, I'm a little flabbergasted. But please tell me about the tree.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it says because evergreen trees remain green throughout the winter season, they had some sort of mystical, magical sort of thing.
Of course.
And they've historically reminded people that the rest of the green plants would eventually grow again when the sun was stronger and summer would return. Hence, this whole sun worship, beckoning the sun back.
So
and-
the evergreen tree was special.
yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so it wasn't long, honestly, when Christians first began to celebrate Christmas. It wasn't long until they incorporated the tree.
Yeah.
In fact, it was one of the very first things because trees are everywhere in the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere in the Garden of Eden. What did we talk about?
Yeah. Tree of
Trees.
life.
Exactly right. And so they would Put a fir tree hung with apples, which represented both the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This is about the time in the 4th and 5th century where religious theater started.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
It's like
God's not dead.
Christian movies. That's exactly right.
This is close to the time of like the Nicene Council.
It would be. Yes, it would be.
Is there any like documentation of what the first Christmas tree?
Well, they said that the earliest they can figure is when this Christian theater, religious theater, started happening, and they would have this tree of the Garden of Eden.
Okay,
that's the earliest image that they.
So then people would see that and were like, "I'm gonna do that at my house."
Well, maybe so, but then it says. The play ended with the prophecy of a coming savior, and for this reason, the particular play was often enacted during the Christmas season. So that's kind of the way it got set up. But then it says the one piece of scenery, the Paradisbaum, like it.
What is that?
The paradise tree. Became a popular object and was often set up in churches and private homes. It became a symbol of the Savior.
Okay.
It represented not only paradise and man's fall, but also the promise of salvation. It was hung with apples, but also with bread or wafers representing the crucified body of Christ, and often sweets representing the sweetness of redemption. The wafers were later replaced by little pieces of pastry cut in the shapes of stars, angels, hearts, flowers, and bells. And then other cookies were introduced bearing the shape of men, bird, roosters, cockatrices, hey, anybody? and other animals. And then it says Martin Luther was the first to add lighted candles to recreate the beauty of twinkling stars.
Wow, what a brave soul.
I know.
Could you imagine adding lit candles to a tree?
Sap-covered tree.
I know. There were lots of cases of houses burning down.
Yeah, this dude was about to Clark Griswold that thing, man.
Yeah. And it says German and English immigrants brought the Christmas tree to America.
Gotcha.
Fruits, nuts, flowers, lighted candles, and then it says, but only the strongest trees could support the weight of all that without drooping. Thus, German glass blowers began producing lightweight glass balls to replace heavier natural decorations.
Man, look at that.
There you go.
So I could have tasty cinnamon rolls on my tree, but thanks to those Germans, now all I get is a little glass ball on there.
That's all you get. Yeah. Huh. So let's get into this then. What do you think about having to say Merry Christmas?
I like saying Merry Christmas.
I do too. If we talked earlier this year, like Halloween's my favorite time of year.
Yeah.
Christmas is right up there, man. I love Christmas time.
I've already been telling everybody that I see at the store, I'm like, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Does it offend you when somebody says Happy Holidays?
No.
I just think they're kind of lame. To be honest. I think they're kind of lame. I wish they'd, you know what I almost would like to do? Just throw people off a little bit. I know Pat has seen this. I'm not sure that you have, maybe. But in Harry Potter, they say, Happy Christmas, Ron. Happy Christmas. And I'm always like, that sounds so weird. Yeah. It makes me kind of want to do it to people.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Yeah. Just kind of
throw
them off.
In especially England, but a lot of Western Europe, Happy Christmas is their greeting.
So it's more American to say Merry Christmas? All right, well, I'll keep saying that then.
Yeah, we poeticed it up.
Yeah, we are a little fancy. Well, so, I mean, no, does it offend you?
No, it does not. Holiday literally means holy day.
Mm-hmm. So even if they think they're getting away from it, they're still not?
Yeah, it's actually,
What if they said Happy X Day?
Okay, I'm going to get to that. When it was not kosher to be a Christian in certain areas, they would use Holy Day.
That was back in Always 99.
What?
Not cool to be Christian.
Oh yeah,
not cool to be Christian.
That's Always 99. No matter what, there's always a hater out there.
Yeah.
So they would use terms like Happy Holidays because that was and also, did you know that if you're going to celebrate Christmas correctly, you celebrate it all the way to Epiphany in January.
Oh, okay.
12 days of Christmas.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. There are Orthodox Christians who will not take any of their Christmas trees or decorations down until the day of Epiphany.
Oh, well, then I suck again.
Yeah.
Because day of Christmas, that stuff's coming down.
Yeah.
I feel claustrophobic, man.
Ours might stay up a few days after.
You are not a very faithful Christian.
I'm not. I'm horrible.
Yeah.
I must be a pagan.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing because in my growing up days, we didn't get a tree until maybe a few days before Christmas.
Really?
Yeah. It was like.
Did y'all get a real tree?
Yeah. We always cut one down. We lived in the evergreen state.
Well, yeah, that's true. You better get a real
Peter
tree.
went into his backyard.
Yeah.
We just went outside.
Yeah.
But then we would leave it up like forever. Like I remember one year we left that up until February.
Oh man, that's pretty awesome.
It was really good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because January is a hard month to get through. I mean, and in the evergreen state, the days are really short.
Yeah.
Like I would walk to school in the dark and walk home in the dark.
So
like 10 o'clock, it would still be dark. 3:30, it was dark.
Jeez.
This might be telling on myself a little. We always took our Christmas tree down the day of Christmas, or sometimes the morning after.
Man,
so
that's a bummer.
Well, no, so it'll dry out because we always had bonfires on New Year's Eve,
Oh, I see. Okay.
and that sucker goes up like, woof.
I feel like Pat's like, get your gifts out of the way. We got to get this tree down out of here.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
We're gonna burn this thing.
Look, last year it was like the Christmas story. Everyone didn't open their presents. Been up all morning, so everyone's asleep. And while everyone's asleep, I like grinched it out of there. So everyone wakes up like, "Where's everything at?" And I'm like, "Look at all this room we got." Yeah, isn't this great?
Hold on, you did that before Christmas morning?
No. After everyone had opened their presents
okay.
Christmas morning.
I
It
thought
was like
you
that
was-
evening.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought you
Wow.
meant like Christmas Eve. They go to bed, you grab the tree, and it's just like a pile of gifts.
Look, we were talking at Laura's house. My kid knows how to do a chokehold, and she will do that. She
Yeah.
would put me in a chokehold if I did that.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. So happy holidays is just happy holy days, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
That trips me out to learn that.
I know, but here's the other one, the Xmas.
All right, that's what I was going to say. Because you see the Merry Xmas.
I know.
That one kind of pisses me off a
If
little
you
bit.
turn an X on its side, it's a cross.
Oh.
Actually, the ancient Roman Christians would actually, they would use two symbols. And this is how, like if you and I were meeting up in a coffee shop and I wanted you to know that I was a Christian, I would either make the sign of the fish on the table or I would make an X. And X was just, it actually is a symbol of Christ.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when they actually would write essentially Xmas, when this is a secret underground code for Christmas. So
I shouldn't be mad about it.
No, it's absolutely okay to do Xmas. It is Christmas. It's just a shorter version of it.
I feel like the people that are using it
I know.
think that they're using it for a different reason.
Isn't it funny, though, that we've become a society that's so ingrained to be ready to be offended
I know.
that if you don't say exactly what we want to hear, we're like, what? So basically, for someone to go against the Christmas greetings or anything, you say Merry Christmas to someone and they got to be like, yeah, whatever. No.
Yeah, I know.
Merry Saturnalia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But you're never going to get away from that attitude.
That's
Somebody's
true.
going to use Xmas just to get back at you or poke at you or something like that. But that's the cool thing about it.
I'll be like, hey, that's still holy. Loser.
Gotcha. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
You just worship Jesus without knowing it.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Yep.
right.
You're
That's
right.
exactly
Me
Happy
too.
holy days to you
X
too.
me too. Yeah.
Exactly. So, we're just gonna, just demystify that whole thing.
That's
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what really intrigued me about most of this, though, is why would people even question it?
Yeah.
Like what? And I understand people wanted to know more and stuff like that.
A lack of hobbies.
Right. But you go looking at it, and I was telling you guys this off air, is like the main reason people are questioning it is they want to stir up. They want to go against the norm. Like this can't be right. In some way, we have talked about this a lot. Hurt people.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way, someone's had a bad Christmas experience. They've had something in their family. They were taught it this way. Their parents said that this was pagan or something. Somewhere along the way, it lost its meaning to them, or they never had the meaning.
Yeah.
And so they have to pull up things opposed as they're
They got
going.
to justify it to themselves.
As opposed to going, what's this really about? Like,
Yeah.
what's the meaning of this Christmas season?
I would venture to say probably most of them have had some sort of negative relation to it.
It's the same way with the church. Most people that are against church have extreme church hurt.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to be involved with the church.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. But here is the antidote. Okay, so there is Christmas in and of itself does not have pagan origins. Some of our practices, some of our icons, some of our symbols absolutely do have pagan origins.
Correct. Yeah.
But it all comes down to how are you using those symbols and how are you appropriating them.
That's right.
Because if you told me today that after we're done here I'm going to go worship my Christmas tree.
Did I tell you?
Yeah.
I busted myself out.
I told you it was glowing. I didn't know.
And you pray to your Christmas tree. Oh, Christmas tree, please bring me success and prosperity this year. That would be a problem.
Yes.
We might have to have a counseling session.
Understandably so.
Exactly. But it was interesting because I was listening to my best friend
Michael.
How's he doing?
He's doing great. He's doing great.
Yeah.
And he was making mention of all the way through Scripture, just like similar to the reference you made about Paul in the Areopagus, and they would make pillars of standing stones. Well, that was a very typical pagan practice in their day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Joshua did it, Moses did it, Jacob did it.
Yeah.
Just all the way through. They would actually use trees as sort of icons, but even more than that, the Ark of the Covenant. This is what kind of blew my mind.
So the ark is a pagan symbol. Is that what you're about to
it is. It is. Because let me try and find.
it was wood trimmed in gold.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Specific wood.
Yeah.
Similar to the Egyptian palanquin. The palanquin is what they used to the royalty used to ride on these.
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
The priests had poles and they had to carry it like that, and they would on the palanquins they would have these winged goddesses, one on each side, Isis and I don't remember the Memphis or something like that, whatever it was. Anyway, they would be facing each other and their wings would be, almost touching.
Yeah.
And they would put things inside, sacred things and whatever. Same thing as the Ark of the Covenant. It was a box.
Yeah.
And it was carried by poles and it had sacred things inside of it. It told a story, had the cherubim cherubim are essentially pagan symbols.
Yeah.
I mean, they were winged goddesses, just like the same kind of thing. And yet God instructed them to build it exactly that way.
Yeah.
Why did God instruct them to do it that way?
Because he's a pagan.
Yes, that's it.
Oh, we talked about this before. Ever since we covered Jericho, this has been popping up to me everywhere. God takes what is and uses it.
Yeah.
Like, God's not going to say, okay, well, they got me on this one, so we're going to scratch that one up.
No, we can't use this.
No, God's like, no. I'm God. I'm God.
Yeah.
So your little thing we do here, watch this. Watch this.
Yeah. I know, and he uses it to cover it up or to one up it,
magnify
I was
his
gonna say
glory.
one up it. Yeah.
And here's the interesting thing about it too, is because all this talk that we've been engaged in through this whole series about the sons of God, the Elohim, the divine council, all this kind of stuff. Well, all of this pagan ritual worship stuff comes from these gods, these little g gods that God created. Yeah, and He's like, I created you. Yeah, I can use anything of yours that I want. Yeah, and these little g gods are actually. What they're doing is they're using common things from God's good creation to make counterfeit gods out of. Counterfeit rituals and counterfeit practices. And, it's just like we get all freaked out about the 666, it's a counterfeit 777. I mean, it's just, it's an attempt at getting something godlike out of human effort.
And I feel like us as a body of believers, that we get so hung up on imagery. We get so freaked out over imagery that we will, we'll hit the panic button instead of embracing what we, because it's the intention behind it, right? It's not the origin, it's the usage. Like you take the guitar, for example, me being a musician, right? Like, we are obviously not going to play satanic black metal on Sunday morning, but they use the same instrument I do.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too, because there is one particular psalm. I don't have it in my head right now, but it was a Psalm of David to be played on a particular instrument. And that instrument came from Gath, came from the capital of Philistia,
where Goliath was from.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he brought this instrument back with him
from their culture.
It's a pagan instrument, basically.
Yes, for sure it was.
Yeah. And he said, "This thing sounds good, though. Check it out."
I know. And he sanctified it, you know? And he said, now we're going to play this psalm on this particular instrument.
And I think that needs to be our mindset with everything.
Yes.
Like, the world's going to have new technology like AI. People are going to say, oh, it's the devil. And people are going to say it's the best thing since pockets. What are you using it for?
That's right.
What's your usage of it?
And so what I want to do is kind of move that direction as we sort of try to wind down a little bit. And well,
that makes me kind of wonder. You mentioned on the music side of things, like kind of your intention. And a song popped into my head when you mentioned that. And I like some Iron Maiden. Yeah. And they have a song called 666 Number of the Beast. And that, I mean, man, when I work out, I'll turn on like my classic metal channel and that'll come on there. And I'm not really paying attention to the song, but it is playing in there. And so, like, if a legalistic friend pulled up and it's like 666, like playing, they'd be like, "What are you listening to, you Satan worshiper?" So, like, how would you address that?
Well, I mean,
I'm not like, it's got a pretty good riff to it.
Look, my cousin Josh, he loves Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah.
Like, we both really like that band, but it's like his go-to band.
Yeah.
And there's a song that's called Beast and the Harlot. Yeah. And literally the lyrics are the book of Revelation.
Yeah.
It just goes through the Beast and the Harlot. Like, it's not like, you should jump on board with this, or it's not anti. It's literally just lyrics from it. It's just quotes from it. And so many people will be like, "Oh, God, that's devil worship." And I was like, it's just reading scripture to song. Yeah. Like, and you're freaking out over it.
I just don't get into I can listen to a song and the lyrics mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'm a blockhead, but
but it's seeping into your subconscious.
It is. Yes.
Back programming you.
It's possessing me slowly. Yeah.
No, I think that, it all depends on the spirit with which the song is delivered and the spirit in which it's received.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's the spirit of bench press and I need some extra motivation.
Yeah.
You listen to Salt and Pepper Push It.
Yes. Man. But no, I just think it kind of made me think, like, people get so hung up on it. And it's like, man, you're like, to me, those people are actually pulling more of the darkness out of it. Like, if I hear it again, it could just be a song. Like, to me, it's just a song.
I heard this comedian. I don't know if you, the guy sent you, Jim Brewer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it, but like he said, he's like, my wife found the Lord, and she goes to church, and he's like, I'll show up after the music. He's like, why doesn't AC/DC like make a religious song? He's like, then I'd be like, all right, let's check this out. Yeah. It's like, and that just goes to show, man, there's so much different types of worship music that you can play to bring people in instead of pushing certain people out. Our faith is inclusive.
Yeah.
It includes everyone.
Yep.
Except for Christmas carols. Those are evil.
That's right. They're evil.
And holly and trees.
Mistletoe.
Yep.
Mistletoe. Yep. That's bad. Interesting thing. I found this little piece on the Nordic religion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little Norse people.
Yep. Yeah. And
Odin's son.
And one of the big criticisms of Christmas as it's celebrated today is that it borrows a lot from Nordic mythology.
Well,
is this about the connection to Santa Claus and Odin?
No, we'll get to that.
So we shouldn't have church on Wednesdays because Wednesday is named after a Norse god.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is if you all the days of the week are pagan. Names.
Sunday is for the sun god.
And some people will go, oh, I only use the names of the Jewish names of the months.
Oh,
Those are Babylonian.
yeah.
They're all. This all comes from Babylon.
So there's no escaping it.
No.
Yeah.
It's your usage of it. Well, how are you using it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is totally okay because God did it. Jesus did it. Paul did it.
Yep.
To take something that is, and you can call almost anything pagan.
Yeah.
Our money is pagan.
Yep.
What did Jesus say? You can't serve two masters.
That's
you
right.
know, you can't serve, God and mammon. He calls it.
Basically, if you have a job, you're a pagan.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, when Paul talks about our fleshly nature, he's talking about paganism, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of who we are.
Yeah.
And so we either redeem that or we submit to it.
Yep.
We give into it. So anyway, it's a little story about the Norse god Odin.
Okay.
Odin. Odin was the Zeus of the Northmen. He was the awesome one, the highest of the high ones. Okay, so now Odin is a strange god by ancient standards. J.R.R. Tolkien's Gandalf is explicitly patterned after him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the only real difference is that Odin carries a spear and is missing an eye. He gave up his eye for wisdom. So anyway, in contrast to other ancient gods, Odin benefited humanity both metaphysically and ethically. He did not require elaborate propitiation. And then it says he modeled humility and the cost of gaining wisdom. He sacrificed his eye to gain wisdom. But even more significant is his search for the runes, Runes. Mm-hmm. Okay? So there's this poem. I love this poem. It's called I Hung on a Windy Tree.
Strong title.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know that I hung on a windy tree 9 long nights, wounded with a spear, dedicated to Odin, myself to myself, on that tree of which no man knows from where its roots run. No bread did they give me, nor drink from a horn. Downwards I peered. I took up the runes, screaming I took them, then I fell back from there. Now, that probably conjures up some images.
Yeah. Jesus on the cross.
Exactly. So it's interesting that when missionaries first started to sort of infiltrate the Celtic region and the Norse region, it says they instantly resonated with this because of their own legends.
Mm-hmm.
And so to the Northmen, the finding and the giving of the runes, which were, good beings to humanity, was equivalent to being made in God's image. Mm. Odin wins the runes through his sacrifice of himself, then gives them to humanity. And so he says here, Odin gave the powerful runes, Christ gave powerful words, and is himself, in John's gospel, the Logos, the divine word of creation. If we take the 9th century Highland as indicative of a Germanic appreciation of the story of Christ in words, the poet is amazed primarily at the power of the light words used by Christ in speaking. So they saw the obvious parallels between Jesus on the cross and Odin on the tree. Mm-hmm. And that's what essentially, Celtic Christianity was one of the stalwarts of the kingdom of God. For centuries, really.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
And that's where it all started. But here's another interesting thing about the Norse people. Before they came to know Jesus, the Northmen celebrated a holiday called Yule.
Yuletide.
Yes, Yuletide.
And that's actually what the method that Germans still do Christmas.
Yes, that is exactly right. Yep, they celebrate Yuletide. There's the Yule log.
Yep.
Okay, so this was connected to the winter solstice for the same reason that Jesus' birth is, symbolism. Mm-hmm. But the symbolism of the sun's retreat ending is far more striking in the cold Northlands because winter there means more than hardship. In a world without electricity, snow and ice mean death. So they celebrate Yule by honoring the mothers with an all-night vigil on December 25th. The mothers were almost certainly the 3 wise hags known as the Norns, who continually refresh the cosmic tree Yggdrasil, however you say that, with the waters from the well of Erd. Yggdrasil.
I'm a hag.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's I feel like we need to bring that word back.
And I'm just saying, I can appreciate that because I've spent some winters in Germany. And
got some old hags.
Suck.
Really?
Oh, I
They
thought you were saying they had a
suck.
lot of hags in Germany.
I was in the mountains of Germany, so Alan, we can talk about it. It's cold. It sucks. I've done PT runs and I've seen people's eyelashes be frozen.
I was in Switzerland one time and I rode a train to see my sister in Prague in Czech Republic. 13-hour train ride, and I ran right through a blizzard, a real blizzard.
Yeah.
Could not see
Yeah.
anything but white.
Yeah.
For hours and hours.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It gives you a different respect for winter weather.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So one part of the Yule celebration was to bring evergreen trees into homes and halls. The evergreen tree thus came to symbolize Yggdrasil, and which they saw the world as a tree.
Yeah.
The world
is
is
the
a
tree of life.
Yes, exactly.
It's that image.
We live somewhere in the tree, you know.
We're a branch.
In fact, it's a far more appropriate symbol because the evergreen trees were reminders of two things. First, that winter could be defeated, as evergreens do it every year. And second, that one day Yggdrasil would defeat Ragnarok, the Norse end of the world.
Oh,
So there's
Ragnarok, man. Yeah.
It's the
a
Norse
little
Armageddon.
eschatology in there.
Yeah.
So,
Good movie.
It is a pretty good movie.
So because of these beliefs, the Northmen saw in Jesus their own worldview completed. He hung upon the cross like Odin for the sake of humanity. By clinging to the cross, we can all escape God's wrath in Ragnarok, just like the children hid within Yggdrasil. So the cross became to them Yggdrasil, the awesome one's gallows, the place where God was sacrificed for us, and so on and so forth. So what do you think about that?
I think that's well said.
So we can actually take these symbols
And use them.
that are pagan, that are organic, that are human, that are fleshly,
Yeah.
and actually,
And it just comes down to this right here. There's nothing you cannot submit for Jesus.
redeem.
Yeah. Jesus
about it?
redeems it all.
Yeah,
You know?
And you can have anything can be used for the wrong reason.
That's right.
absolutely.
You know, I mean, like that's what I get, what I think about. I'm like, if you worship anything besides God, you're a pagan.
Yeah.
You know what cannot be redeemed that we do at Christmas every year is the insane greed and commercialism that we have allowed to infiltrate our whole celebration of Christ's birth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That
I don't see it ending. I don't see an end to that.
it will not.
Yeah, greed's
will
never
not.
going to go away.
But it can end in my home
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
and your home.
That's right.
Well, and you know, really, we say it'll never end, but I kind of think about the tree thing. You know, originally nobody had trees in their house, and then it started. You know, we see through the time. So I mean, man, you know, I guess it's a poor attitude for me to say it'll never change because I mean, it would be a monumental challenge.
Well, you know, again, how about this? I'm going to quote Gandhi for Christ. Be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, be the change you want to see. If you wanted the commercialism, the greedy side of it to go away, start practicing in your home.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what does kind of do a reset sometimes is a worldwide tragedy.
That's right.
Just like we went through a few years ago.
Yeah.
We saw a lot more peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Yeah.
And a lot less commercialism when we were in the middle of that big time tragedy.
And you know what, though? That tragedy actually was a great thing because now people crave human interaction. They don't care about the presents and all that. They want the fellowship. They want the true.
Unless you're a corporation and then you crave the money.
Yeah, but they'll be all right. I can't afford them anyway. I bought all my clothes from Walmart.
There you go.
They will. It did. I feel like it did push people. It almost made them kind of center back in with their families.
Yeah.
And
Because you couldn't be with a lot of people. And,
yeah.
But on the other hand, I resonate with your cynicism because it didn't take very long for it to kind of flip back.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And-
And it, I mean, man, that's, you literally, everything, literally, now I'm thinking about it, but everything is geared in that sense. Like we're on social media. We're constantly shown ads, you know, they've tailored ads to they have tailored ads to everything you like.
Yeah, it's called a GeoNet.
Yeah. Like I get, man, to my demise, I get some awesome gun pop-ups and weaponry. And I'm like, man, I just don't need it right now. But I mean, you always need more. Who am I kidding?
Yeah.
My wife listens to this, you know, I always need more. But it is wild. Like it's hard to escape. And that's one of the things like, man, you know, kids are on this stuff now. It's getting tailored to them. They're seeing these things and it's like ingrained and it's just a vicious cycle.
And I think it's even harder for kids because we all know better. As we get older, we're
supposed to.
Well, I can be like, I'm gonna pick on Drew Mathis. I'm gonna be like, well, Drew got this new vehicle, blah blah blah, and my wife looks at me and I'm like, well, he ain't buying no new vehicle.
Yeah.
I can't afford it.
Oh, are you saying like kids see their buddy get 20 things for Christmas?
But kids come back to school after Christmas break and they got all these new fresh duds on and got everything. I got this for Christmas and this, and then they feel bad.
I remember when I was in school, when you went back after Christmas break, everybody always like, man, what'd you get for Christmas?
I know.
So if you are that would be the hard part. Like if you're the family that's breaking that cycle.
Because you don't want your kid to go through that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want your kid to be brought up into a materialistic view of the holiday.
But this is where we get to with this question of, is Christmas a pagan holiday?
If it's about the gifts, then yes.
Well, does it have pagan origins? No, it does not.
No.
I would say, well, I mean to jump in there like that, but
it's okay.
I feel like you can warp it. Like we're saying, you can warp it to anything, but is it a pagan holiday?
No, it's not. It clearly is not.
What's the name of the holiday?
Christmas.
Yeah.
What's the first part of that?
That'd be Christ.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So suck it, pagans.
Yeah.
And even Xmas, as I've learned,
it's okay.
Yeah.
It is totally okay.
Yeah.
But can are there pagan symbols? Yes,
absolutely.
Can we celebrate them and use them in a pagan way? Of course we can. But do we have an opportunity to repurpose them in a way that honors Christ? Absolutely, we do.
So what you're saying is it's all about your intention of the holiday.
Absolutely, and who you're worshiping.
Oh, so then it puts it on you.
Yes.
Oh, so now you're meddling
this
now.
author, or the author on that one that said it clearly is a pagan, they're a pagan.
I would say
that's what they're using it.
I mean, they're clearly misguided.
Yep.
Let's put it that way, because if you do all the proper research, you discover that that the assignment of December 25th to Jesus' birthday
is very unique.
Came before the the Greek Roman kind
Saturnalia.
Exactly. Yeah. And even when you start messing around with Mithra and all that kind of stuff, there's so many divergences that you when you get one layer deep, you can't even compare the two.
Yeah.
And that's what's so funny, because as we were doing this research, I was like, man, like we're going to have to do a lot of back and forth. And then as I got to reading it, I was like, well, that's a dumb thing. That's a dumb point. Like, and then you're like, oh, this is very surface level.
It just doesn't hold water.
So why do people get so ingrained in it? And I think it's because we're a headline society. We read the one little thing or see the one little YouTube video and we're like, yep, that's it. Game over.
Yeah.
It's pagan.
Yeah.
We got
even reading into that article that I mentioned, like when I would read their breakdowns, I get done reading, I'm like, I still don't. So where does that point out that it's pagan?
This is dumb.
I'm like waiting for the punchline and it never comes. So,
but what we kind of come around to is that there's a severe misunderstanding of the origin of December 25th and the importance of that date.
Right.
There's a misunderstanding about who came first.
Yeah.
And then there's that whole big, bad, dark period of Christmas when it was nothing but drunkenness and gang rioting.
Yeah.
And that's where it all sorts of, it just started to get really convoluted. And honestly, one of the points that this guy makes is that we are so far removed now from all of the different kind of messes that we can make Christmas anything.
Exactly.
We can do it however way we want to do it.
Yeah.
And family traditions are perfectly okay.
Yeah. Star on top or angel on top?
I'm an angel guy, but
I grew up angel guy, but we have a star on ours.
Okay. All right. What about you?
My wife's not even put our tree up yet. So
we don't have ours yet, but
I don't even remember. Sorry, Marcy.
we put ours up the day after Thanksgiving.
But we take it down the day of Christmas.
Let me rephrase that. Stacy puts it up the day after Christmas. I mean, the day after Thanksgiving. I take it down the day of Christmas.
Yeah.
I still just can't believe you take it down the day of Christmas. It just hurts my heart a little bit.
I think it's because we put it up so early. I'm tired of looking at it.
Yeah.
It gets a month, man.
Do you, we always do a real tree. Do you?
No. No, we usually just have a fake tree.
Yeah, we usually do the fake one.
Yeah.
Man.
I like the real tree.
But there was something cool because I actually took an axe. Like I went out with an axe today. Years ago, Marcy got me a felling axe, like a legit felling axe. And man, it's got like a 4.5 pound head. And
was it your Christmas present?
It was a birthday present, I think. But so it would have been good if it was Christmas because I could have done a pagan act of cutting a tree down with it. But you can shave with this thing. It's like a razor blade. Right. And I went out and cut it and piled it in the back of the truck. It had tree sap stuck on my hands. Like
Were you man grunting the whole time?
Oh yeah, man. I felt like, I had cedar in my beard. It was nice.
That's testosterone perfect. Takes a couple bumps.
Yeah.
See, when, where I come from,
y'all had better trees. And I'm telling you, this is like this is a pretty big tree, but it's still kind of got that Charlie Brown look to it. They were thin.
Yeah, I like a real tree, but man, they are upkeep.
Man, when I moved to Tennessee, I was so disappointed because, man, you've got like probably 25 varieties of evergreen trees to choose from.
Yeah.
Where I come from, and our favorite one was the noble fir. Noble fir, it has layers, like so all the ornaments,
You got a good spot to put it.
Yeah, it's just like it's not all bushy and everything.
You getting a Douglas here, brother.
I know.
That's all you get.
Or a Fraser fir. That's it. That's all you get. But the coolest part is all of the needles point up.
Oh, so good for hanging up.
Yeah, they all point up, and they're green on the top, but they're silver on the bottom.
Wow.
It is the most beautiful tree. And you can just go buy one. Just anywhere. Just buy a noble fir.
Could you cut your own? I guess they have a lot of cut your own. Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, you got to be careful in Tennessee. Some people are liable to have a maple tree up. They just, this is close enough to do it.
Well, like I said, I got a cedar tree. I mean, I just found a tree that fit the bill and cut her down.
There you go.
But that is, I feel like they're kind of making a comeback though. Real trees.
I think they are. Yeah.
Like I went to Home Depot. There you got a bunch.
I know. That's usually where we get ours.
Yeah. Oh man, you don't go cut it down?
No.
I drive to Washington, cut one down.
Clark Griswold it back.
Hard part's getting it back.
Yeah. When you get back, it's just a bare tree.
Exactly.
Yeah. We get ours out of the attic every year.
That's pretty much. Yeah. I will have to brave our rickety attic's ladder here in a couple days.
Yeah. And like I said, I'd like a real tree. But it's just so much more convenient.
I just have never had a fake one.
I love the smell of a real tree.
Man, yeah.
Like that.
Here we go again. Like I just buy the fir plug-in scent.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, close enough, man. Close enough.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap it all up. Christmas is not a pagan holiday. It does not have pagan origins. It does have pagan symbols and rituals, which have been redeemed in every possible way and should continue to be redeemed in every possible way.
Yeah.
As we enter into this incredible season. My favorite time of the year.
Yeah, I love Christmas.
I do too.
I mean, what's not to like?
Right.
If it is a pagan holiday, it's because you have made it a pagan holiday.
I was going to say that, but you beat it too. Thank you.
There you go.
Have I told y'all my joke about the three wise men?
No.
All right. So I just can't wait. I got to go ahead and tell it.
Go ahead.
Man.
Do you know why the three wise men were all wearing firefighter hats when they got there?
No idea.
You did tell me this one.
Did I tell you?
Yeah.
Because they came from afar.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
I only have like three, so I got
That's,
yeah, that's good. As soon as you said the firefighter hat, I remember you telling me.
Yeah,
I was like,
they came from afar.
That joke has pagan origins.
Yes. All right, guys.
All right, so next week, the origin of Santa Claus and his elves.
Yes, we're gonna dig deep into where did that whole thing come from.
Yeah,
there's some dark and sinister stuff back there.
Yeah, I'll watch. You brought up the claymation. What's his name? The Burgermeister.
Yes,
I have to watch about the Burgermeister,
yes.
Meisterburger. Guys, hit that like button.
Yeah, please.
Hit subscribe. Share this with your friends.
Leave us some comments and participate in the polls, man. Let us know what you guys think. We really want to interact with y'all.
Hey, comment your fourth pick for your Christmas movie.
Yeah,
that's
below.
Yeah, that's
a good one. Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. This is your fourth best Christmas movie.
Yep. And then we'll go 3, 2, 1.
Yep. All right, guys. Catch you later.